Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another HGO Spoilercast. I'm your host today, Ethan, and joining me is Hunter. Hey, Hunter, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
I was
First
like,
Spoilercast of the year.
Yeah, I was like, this
Woo.
isn't our normal thing. We don't usually do Spoilercasts. It's been ages since we did Spoilercasts. When was the last Spoilercast?
Life is Strange.
Was it that long ago?
In like September.
That is so long ago. That's crazy.
To be fair, towards the end of the year, it wasn't like there was a whole lot of stuff that was like coming out that we were all playing anyhow.
No, there was like nothing. It was in terms of like story games, it was a pretty dead final couple of months. So it's been a while since we've done one.
Or like, if we weren't gonna do a spoiler cast on Deathloop, we would have just talked about our favorite little notes that we picked up.
You could not pay me to recite the story of Deathloop because I have no clue about what that game is about.
I could recite the back of the box premise and be like, yeah, he did that.
I can't.
And that's
even
about
do that. All I can remember was his name was Colt, and then there was Juliana Blake, and that's all I remember. And the guy with the fox mask who was holding a rave, and that's all I remember.
I don't even remember his name.
Neither do I. I don't remember any of the luminaries' names. I remember they were called luminaries. Hey, that's a
Visionaries.
Oh crap!
Luminaries.
Kaito
Momoa.
Yeah,
Luminary of the stars.
Oh god! Wow. We're not here to talk about how little I remember of Deathloop Hunter. We're here to talk about a game that everybody else forgot because it came out like within a week of Elden Ring. It's Horizon Forbidden West. We're finally doing our spoiler cast. Don't sound too excited. Don't sound too excited. It's it's gonna be a fun one. Obviously, I beat this game ages ago. I don't know when. Has it been like a month? I don't know. I think it might have been a month. And then you've beat it a week and a half ago, was it?
Yeah, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point.
I finished it on the 4th of March. It's been exactly a month since I beat this game. So,
wow.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one for me to try and recall the story of Horizon Forbidden West as we give you our spoiler cast. So, let's start things off, as we always do. We give our initial impressions of the game, how long it took, what we thought. We do a brief non-ish spoiler thing. There's going to be spoilers throughout, so as I always say, get the fuck out if you haven't played the game yet. Or if you don't want to be spoiled. Then yeah, please leave now or forever hold your peace. But yeah, so it took me 70 hours, 60 hours, I don't remember. I think it took me like 60 odd hours to platinum this game.
Yeah, it was like closer to 70 for me.
Yeah, it took me 61 hours. That's it. It was 61 hours. And the last thing I did was beat the story, so I did all the side quests before I even finished the main story. Were you the same? Was the last thing you did the last mission, or?
That was the last thing I actually did. I didn't get all the collectibles or anything. Like, I did like half of them, and then by the time that I got to the end, I was like, I do have these to do still, but I'm ready to finish. I don't want to delay.
I was just stupid. I just did them. I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll grab all your black boxes and all your weird things that you want me to collect.
See, I was like that as I came across them, but I think once I got, some of the black boxes specifically, I remember being like cut off, and I just think I forgot to go back. And then I was like, I could go get some of these or the rest of these now.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
At the end, I don't want to put this off.
To be fair, I don't even remember what the other collectibles were. There was the weird things at the start, the towers, the Ubisoft towers at the start. Then there was obviously the black boxes. There was
the ornament relics.
Oh yeah, the cool the ornaments for Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one? There was one more, wasn't there?
I don't remember what it was.
Oh, there was the vision points, like where
the Vista points.
The Vista points.
I think I got all of those actually. Now that I think about it,
I got all of them. But yeah, so there was a load of collectibles. But yeah, so overall impressions, Hunter. What did you think about Forbidden West in the end?
I think it is a pretty solid improvement over the first game. They took the foundation that one laid and, did more with it. added more to it.
Mm.
I think the story benefited quite a bit from already having the world established.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you have listened to our first impressions, I wasn't too pleasant towards the introduction to the game. I think it's quite honestly one of the worst tutorial areas of a video game I've ever played.
I stand by the first hour not being great, yes.
It's not good. It's not a good first hour. Especially because they literally start chucking all of the jargon at you straight away, and they're like, "Yo, hope you read the wiki beforehand and remember Elizabeth Sobek and Pharaoh and all these other random characters that you probably have forgotten about if you played it in 2017 like I did."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh God, it's awful." But then once you finally get into the Daunt, that's when it finally picks up again. I'm like, good. But yeah, overall impressions. I think personally, this is a way better game than the first one, in my opinion. I think Guerrilla literally, there's not a single part of this game that I think is inferior to the original. I think the story's better. I think the characters are better. I think the gameplay's better. I also think the world's better, which I was surprised to say because I thought the first world of Horizon was, yeah, it was good, but it was very bland. Like, I can't remember anything about the first world of Horizon at all. Maybe Meridian.
The thing about it was mostly, I was more compelled by the mystery of it all in the first game, more so than the actual, world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get that. And I think it's a testament to Guerrilla and also just a praise of the game itself that even though that the cat is out of the bag in that regard to what the world is, they still managed to make an interesting and engaging open world where there were still many things to see and do.
Yeah, that was the thing going into this game, or when it was announced. I'm like, okay, so if it's not as good as the first one, then it will be because they couldn't build off of the mystery. It was just now it's out and we don't know what to do.
And don't get me wrong, there was a good chunk of the game where in the first third, spoilers by the way, that's your final warning, I'm gonna go into it. When they bring the humans back from before the extinction event, I was like,
oh yeah,
that I thought they jumped the shark. I was like, oh no, this is not how you try and this is like a Rian Johnson, hey, let's go and drastically change your expectations of the video game. I'm like, oh no, please. I don't know how I feel about this, having immortal humans roaming around. And I'm still going to stand by it. I think it's still fucking stupid. I changed my mind towards the end because the character development and their reasoning and all of that stuff became more compelling. Originally, when it just was, the original humans are here to kick their ass because they want their planet back, I was like, oh god, this is a bit lame.
If it would have just been Gerard and the other guy, it would have been...
His name was Gerard, wasn't it? I forgot. Yeah. That just sounds like the most generic, thug name.
I almost called him Gerald, but it was Gerard, and I don't even remember the guy that has the two bad boss fights, but...
they were awful, by the way. That boss fight was horrendous.
The other one was, just but the first one was not good at all.
It's just... The second boss fight was a joke, because I was over-leveled and overpowered. Yeah. And he literally, I bullied him in a corner. I literally got him in a corner and just kept headshotting him. I headshot him 5 times and he died. I was like, excellent gameplay. Bye. Yeah. But that first boss fight is it's one of the only things I did not like about the gameplay was that boss fight was awful. It was
not great.
Pretty bad. And that whole thing is, we'll get to Silence in a bit, but the one thing that this game did do, which I didn't expect, was I thought, especially in the start, the first third, I was a bit uneasy on the story. Because I was like, are they really going to do this generic thing where Silence is now moo-ha-ha, broody, evil guy in the background pulling all the strings? And then aliens come in, I'm like, oh god, what is this? But testament to them, I think that's what Guerrilla thought everybody thought the game would be, in a way. So they played on it. because man, I was like, oh god, like talking about the bad start to the video game. Silence is like evil monologue at the start of the game where he's like, haha, you fell for my plan.
In case you're playing this one before you play the other one.
Yeah, it was like, oh, not only did I set my spear to disintegrate after you finally touch it again, but now I'm gonna play a brooding monologue on top of a tower and tell you to come and find me in the name of the subtitle of the video game. I'm like, oh no. It
would have been really funny if she had like just pulled the spear out after the fight.
Yeah.
Because he'd have that message all loaded up, and then she'd be like on his tail right before he could even do anything.
It was like, it's such a weird way to handle it, because it's like, don't get me wrong, there's things that I did like in the introduction. For example, like getting to see some of those characters that weren't properly returning for the second game, to have them just show up at the start and be like, yo, sup, we're here in this Meridian Circle that you can explore for 5 minutes. I was like, fair enough. Like, that's cool. I was like, it would have been cooler if you could just explore Meridian, like just in its entirety. But you know, I guess we'll accept the small circle of where the Aloy statue is.
Her reaction to that was funny.
Yeah.
Like, no, I didn't want that.
To be fair, I do find it funny that they did that right at the start of the game, because again, as someone that hadn't played it for 3 years, I was genuinely like, and you are again? Oh, you're the king guy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
like...
Who are you again?
The first like hour and a half of this game was me just going, who are you?
I didn't even remember. Like, when Varl
I didn't even remember Varl.
When Varl reveals himself at the start of the game, I was like, I think I remember you, but I'm not sure. And I was like, oh, he's the
I didn't know who he was until he mentioned his mother.
Yeah, until he mentioned his mom. I'm like, oh, it's you. That's who you are. That I was like, wow, this is a really interesting start to the video game. But no, that first hour of exposition and just lore dump, and it's like, we're looking for Gaia. We're doing this. And I'm like, okay, I get it. It's fine. And then Silence shows up and does his moody speech where he's like, "Muhaha, come find me in the Forbidden West. Peace out." And then it's just like, at first I was like, oh, are they really going down the generic route? And then when they showed the aliens, I was like, oh no, they're jumping the shark. Maybe they're going too much the other way, like with Far Zenith coming back. And I was like, oh no. But eventually it settles back down and it finds this good middle ground where it starts to become an engaging story, and to the point where I like it. I like the story more than the first game on a whole.
I think that this story, one thing across the board it does better is most of the notable moments from the first story were the things that you learn about that happen in the past. This story did a good job of having it be more intertwined and having cool things to do in the present. Yeah.
It very much does live in the moment of the game where it's like, oh, we're trying to collect all these pieces of Gaia, and what's the deal with Beta, and what's Val Zenith's actual goal here, and okay, why is what's her name? Does it begin with a T, the Far Zenith lady who's played by the
It does begin with a T. Her name is Trinity.
No, it's not Trinity.
No. That's the voice. Trinity from the Matrix.
It's Trinity from the Matrix. Yeah, but I'm like, who does she play in Horizon?
I don't remember her name in Horizon.
I'm just gonna type in Trinity Horizon Forbidden West. It's Carrie-Anne Moss who plays her, and is it Tilda? I don't know why I've got Tilda in my head.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I know she played Trinity. Who's she playing? What a spoiler cast. Okay, let me
I believe
try.
It's Tilda.
I just can't live with myself not knowing. Yeah, Tilda. It's Tilda. Okay. Yeah, okay, my memory's not that bad. But with the whole what is Tilda's deal? What's happening? I was like, there's a lot of stuff in here, to the point where near the end I was actually kind of scared that they weren't going to have enough time to wrap all this up, because there was a point where I was like, we've got the whole of the war with Regala, Silence, the Far Zenith base, rescuing Beta, and what's the deal with Tilda, all to wrap up in the span of 2 final missions or 3 final missions. And I was like, how the hell are they going to pull this off? They managed to do it.
Pretty spectacularly. I was riding a high for those last couple of missions, man.
Because it's just so good, and it's just how everything interlinks, and it's like you can very much tell that the story team for this game very much had the ending and where they wanted everybody to be out at the end before they had written the story. For better or worse, I think the first half of the game certainly drags in comparison to the second, just because of how much story is in the second half. Because when you think about it, the first half of the game really is just the tutorial, the Daunt, find Silence, the aliens, the Far Zenith coming back. No, I keep calling them aliens when they're technically humans. And then get the processes of Gaia. And that's like the first half of the game. And then the whole second half is like dealing with the entirety of the Regala and the Far Zeniths getting their revenge back and all the Beta stuff. And
the Quen people, too, got introduced in the second half.
Which is a very weird thing to do. Like, the Quen were... God, we can talk about that Ted Farrow lookalike piece of shit character, which I was like...
It took me 0 seconds to hate that guy.
Oh, same. Like
he showed up in the frame, and I'm like, nope, there's something about you.
The only way they could have made it more obvious is if, as he sat down in his chair, a little lackey like came in and kneeled down, and he put his fucking feet on top of their back, as if it was like... That's the only way they could have made him even more obnoxious than he already was. But we'll get into that. We've talked about Far Thoughts, so let's start with the first half. We've talked a little bit about the Silence bit, but I guess the bit that we should probably talk about is the whole point of the original setup of the game is to find Gaia, find a root source of Gaia, and try and recreate Gaia. Essentially, is what we're trying to do in the game.
So that she can restore the planet, because the planet is still screwed up.
And one of the things that I do like, looking back on it, is the whole idea of Silence is like 5 steps ahead of even the Zeniths at this stage, where it's like, because he is basically tortured Hephaestus.
Hades.
Is it? No, it's Hades, isn't it? Hephaestus is the machine
Hephaestus
one.
is the other one.
He has basically got all the information. He knows everything. He knows about what the signal? What was it called? It had a special
Nemesis?
name for it. No, Nemesis is what you revealed.
Oh, the extinction signal.
The extinction signal, yeah. So he already knew about the extinction signal. He already knew about the Far Zeniths. I like how, for some reason, Hades knew about their shields and how to defeat them. Like, I
don't know why Hades would know that.
I just like the idea of Hades was knowing had already knew what the extinction signal. In my headcanon is Hades, as he was building up his army and getting ready to basically take over and destroy the world, in his head, he knew the Far Zeniths were coming, so he was already thinking of how to deal with them, because they were probably going to get in the way of...
Everyone will be extinct.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna make sure they're extinct when they get here too, is what my headcanon is. But I do love how Silence literally knows all of this, and still, he's like... And also just how he kind of sending Aloy on a goose chase. He's like, yeah, you can go in there and get the Gaia kernel, because I literally don't give a shit, because this world's fucked anyway.
Because he was planning to leave the whole time.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, like, very smart idea is, these Far Zeniths have basically only just arrived. Gonna nick their ship. Guess I'll...
See ya.
Just yoink. I just it's such a Silence thing to do. It's like, I just want the ship with all the knowledge on there, and I'm just gonna sit in space alone and read books until I die, is basically what Silence's master plan was. But sending her in to collect Gaia, though, how nice of them. I do find it weird where there was like, they made it clear, they're like, there's 2 lots of Gaia. There's 2 lots of Gaia. And it's like, okay, I get it. But surely the Zeniths, surely it would have been more effective, because they had to take Gaia to the second act random location anyway. So you think it'd be better if there was only one kernel of Gaia and Zenith were trying to hunt them down to get it, instead of it being this weird race that the Zeniths don't even play the race in, because you get all three without having a single encounter with them, now that I think about it.
Yeah, it is bizarre. Like, it was just, there was another one. I guess it was to explain why they wouldn't show up and be showing up as much.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guess they also got some of the other Gaia, the reason the other Gaia components weren't there was because they were gathering the other ones.
Yeah.
Except for Hephaestus.
Yep.
So yeah, and I do think it was very interesting. Obviously, the other clone of Elizabeth Sobek was not expecting to see another Aloy in beta. I do think it's I do like how she's just called Beta, because in my head I'm like, why did they call her Beta? Because
Sobek was the alpha.
Oh, is that why? Okay.
Alpha Prime. Yeah.
Oh yeah. True. I genuinely didn't even pick up on that. Yeah, I know it's Alpha Prime. But oh yeah, that makes sense. I just thought they called her Beta because they're like, you're shit, you're Beta.
Well,
mid.
That probably wasn't a great thing, name for her psychologically. Yeah, so they probably were like, yeah, it's what you are.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a. It was a. It was just that whole relationship with Beta, because Beta was a character that I think that, again, I think this is intended in the writing, I fucking disliked for a large proportion of this game. Like, I was kind of with Aloy for quite a bit of it, where I'm like, yeah, she's a fucking pessimistic little shit.
I didn't hate her. I think I spent most of the game waiting for the other shoe to drop, and for her to be like, I'm gonna kill you, actually.
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen, where she was eventually going to have this guy. I'm like, okay, they're giving Aloy family. I get what this is they're going to have it like this. So she has basically a sister by the end of it. It's like, we all know where this is going. And I was like, it's very weird, though, that they are clones of each other, so they look even more alike than twins. So it's a bit weird. I really hope Beta keeps her hair short for the next game, because it's going to be really hard to distinguish between them. Because I feel like she's going to get, like, actual, like, armor or something. Like, she's going to have, like, an actual, like, costume in the next one. And I'm like, it's going to be so hard to distinguish the two of them if they're both wearing, like...
I don't know if she'd be rolling around in, like, Aloy's kind of clothes, though. I wouldn't be shocked if she showed up in, like, some kind of science lab coat somehow.
Oh, I fucking hope not, dude. I hope not. Like, that...
But,
I hope not. I feel like in 3, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. I feel like they're going to try and do that kind of storyline of Beta trying to fit into what this kind of society is, and kind of her struggling to fit in because she knows so much and she knows about what the world truly is, and it's like trying to integrate her into it. I know that's going to be a plot point.
Well,
and
it seems like, with jumping to the end a little bit, they're trying to get more people to understand how things actually are, too.
True.
So that
literally,
Aloy, because they need to.
Aloy was genuinely playing fucking Oprah with the fucking what are they called? Focuses.
Yeah,
she was basically like, you get a focus and you get a focus, and what's that just meant? You have a focus. It was like... Yeah. It's just kind of funny, because at first I'm like, oh, she's giving Val a focus. That's okay, that's cool. But they're just like, yo, Zoe, here, have a focus. Aaron, here, have a focus. Katali, who's fucking cool as shit, here, have a focus.
Katalo is like my favorite.
He's my favorite character. Hell yeah, dude.
I actually, I think I like him more than Aaron and Varl, even. Like, he was just my favorite buddy.
At the end, I was like, please don't kill him off, dude. Please don't kill him off. I
really liked his little dynamic with Alpha, too. There was something about that gave me
I genuinely liked his like character with like, and the way his relationships with everybody, like, genuinely. Yeah. And it's like, at first I was like, okay, this guy's pretty cool. And then when he was like, I'm going to come and help you, I'm like, okay, cool. I hope you stick around. And now I'm like, part of the fucking Katalo fan club, where I'm like, he better be in 3. He better.
He better, yeah.
Because
I won't forget who he is if you introduce him at the very beginning.
Yeah, I definitely won't. I'll be like, there's my boy. Look at him. God, I do love Katalo. Also, I really love his side quest. His in particular,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, that's great. I like it quite a bit.
I really like that it was, because they could have really mishandled that, like, just because it could have been like this kind of thing if it was done any differently. Because he did get his arm, and that was cool, but it was also like, it would have been really annoying if he just got the arm and then threw it away.
No, instead he just, when I need it, I'll use it, but it's
Yeah.
not a part. It's not who I am anymore, and I'm like, I like that.
Yeah, that's really good. That was a really good quest.
Yeah. No. Oh, to be fair, all the quests for the most part for the side characters were pretty good. There are some characters that I wish we saw a bit more of from the side quests. Like, I feel like the new ones definitely got quite a bit of screen time, which is good. It established them.
Aaron's just being the
Aaron is
his
like,
just being the one that was the end of the base camps or whatever. It felt kind of tacked on.
That's
as
literally
far
the one.
as,
That's the character that I was going to talk about. Was I feel like we needed more Aaron in this game because we got plenty of Vol because of
we did
Vol
get
fucking
of
dying, right? But it's like,
yeah. And it's like, yeah, Aaron was like, I like Aaron. It's just
Aaron's
just
my favorite character
to be
from the original. So
yeah,
it's like
he was like, of all the side characters that I could actually remember, like if they made a good call making him show up in the trailer, you know.
Can we just say, by the way, I was so shocked that wasn't even a side quest.
Yeah,
that whole quest was made up.
It was made up.
And that whole the thing that blows my mind about that is that area that it's in is in the map. And they never use it for anything. It's just not used.
It's
There's
just
nothing.
hanging out.
There's no collectibles or anything. There's just literally nothing. And I'm like, what? Like, why wasn't that even a side quest? Why were they looking at this? Why were they looking in the sky with the extent? Like, I'm like, that's a big bait. But I'm also like, it's Horizon. Why? They're like, you don't need to bait. It was a year from launch. What were you doing? Why?
I don't know, man.
It was,
but I guess it does kind of make sense that if they were gonna like just use a part of the game for a quest that didn't exist, that it was empty. Actually, though.
I mean, yeah, but I'd also be like, yo, can we not just rework what we've just made into a side quest for Aaron? Like, can we not just do that? Because the San Francisco part of the game was very underused.
For being like for being like one of the most striking things about the marketing being like
on the poster, on the box art, in all the trailers.
You don't actually spend that much time there unless
it's
you
one
just
mission. It's one mission,
out.
Yeah, isn't it? It's just the Quen mission, and that's it.
Yeah.
Do you have to go back there? I don't remember even if you have to go back there.
I mean, there were
side quests
in the area, yeah, but you know,
not really. That was crazy because, I mean, personally, like, let's talk about it, right? So yeah, we've talked like Farzi and If obviously they show up, right? And Farzi and If very much when that happened, I was like, oh no, here we fucking go. And then you get like, I'd say that boss fight was that bad. I'm going to use an insulting term here. That was a PS3 level boss fight, dude. That was a mid-generation PS3, someone's got superpowers boss fight.
Honestly, it was like, it's like one of those forced loss battles almost, where it's like, aha, you can't win, middle of the game. And then even controlling, it felt like it was in Uncharted or something that had no business having a boss fight in the first place.
Yeah, and it was just like, hit the random things on the machine at the top and pretend they're dead. I'm like, for Farsi to have superior technology, you'd think they'd have a scan for life forms or something. Like you know, you'd think they'd have a scan.
Yeah, you'd think they would have been able to know Aloy was there before the thing rose up. Especially
as Tilda later on in the story has like a flashbang and a fucking get out of jail free card, like, piece of tech. Yeah. Like,
and was able to reconstruct the smashed focus.
Yeah. Fucking reverse engineered it. But yeah, so obviously you go away, you've got Zoe, Zoe's probably... Is Zoe my least favourite of the new characters? I feel like she might be, but I don't dislike Zoe in the slightest.
I don't
It's just
dislike her
very
either. I
much-
just like Katalo and Alva more.
Same. They have more personality, whereas Zoe is very much the kind of don't know what's the kind of word to describe it. She's very much the more not tribalistic, because Katalo is very tribalistic in the sense of their aggression, but very with like they're like, she's from like the with the land kind of people, right? So she's very much like, she's kind of got that kind of farmer-esque personality where it's like everything's to do with the land and the land gods and all of that, and I'm like,
very traditional.
Yeah, I'm like, you're very boring, where the other people are technology people who all of their knowledge is kind of wrong about. They've managed to work out that technology's there, but they've managed to misread it all and it all be shit. And then Catalo's over there like, yo, look at that. We basically took Night at the museum and went, this is our Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other two, they were a lot more interesting to me. But I still liked Zoe to the point where I'm like, if she's in, she'll probably be in the third one as well. I think all the characters will return from the third one now, the main group anyway, at least.
Yeah, very probably.
But she was definitely the least interesting, I'd say.
Yeah.
But so obviously, so that's like the first third. We've been through like the first third of the game. To me, that's like the low point of the game. It's like, it's very much my least favorite part of the game by far.
Yeah, for a large part of that, that's the part that feels the most like, oh, we're just doing Horizon again.
It does feel like that. It's like, it's not bad by any stretch of the means. Like, it's not a bad video game.
I wouldn't
or anything
complain.
Like that.
I obviously wasn't complaining about more Horizon. Like, it's just, if it would have only been that through the whole runtime, I would have been like, eh. Maybe I
it would have been
the first one more.
Yeah. But the second half, well, the other 2/3 really did strike me, because one, obviously, you have the new tribe, the new big tribe of the game, the Tanakh.
Dude, the Tanakh are so much cooler than every other tribe from the first game.
They are, because it's like, obviously when they were talking about the 10, obviously we didn't talk about the mission where Regala comes in and her forces near the start.
Where they rape the embassy.
Where you see the Tanakh the first time round, and you've got the the king's relative who dies and stuff like that. And then when he was talking about how he's like, oh no, the Tanakh are actually kind of cool people. I'm like, they look like they're cavemen. I don't believe you. But then when you actually go over and meet them, you're like, yeah, fuck fucking Meridian,
dude. I believe I was sold on them when he was like, I won my place in their society by winning trial by combat. I was like, okay, well, if anything, that means Aloy stands a pretty good chance of survival.
Yeah. And while we're at it, I wasn't a huge fan of Regala. We'll get to Regala later, but Regala does genuinely just feel to me like she's
just kind of there.
There, yeah. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, and then we'll get to it at the end where she's like, you defeat her, and that's it. And it's like, oh, you've done the job, well done.
Yeah.
And they give you a choice that's not really much of a choice. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, Regala just didn't do anything for me personally. It was just kind of, they were there to have people riding machines that are your enemy, essentially. They were there to be the Shadow Carja of this game. And I mean, to be fair, I remember more about them than I do the Shadow Carja, so I'll give them that.
Yeah, there's that. I don't know, if the game would have been focused more about her rather than the Farzinus being the obvious and clear threat, then I think she could have been fine, but
I think because there was just
she is just fine, but
she's like at the bottom of the pack. She's at the bottom of the pack because it's not only do you have the Farzinus, so you have Tilda. Sorry, not Tina. Tilda. You have the Farzinus. Then you have Silence under that. Then under Silence you have Regala, and it's like
Hephaestus is somewhere in the middle.
Hephaestus is somewhere mischief. Just fucking chatting shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, Regala just didn't really do anything for me in the story, and that's okay. She served her part of the story, and there's some interesting stuff between, like, the relationship between her and the Tanakh leader, Hikaru, was interesting. Like, I do like the whole idea of him trying to make the Tanakh for new kind of people, and her being stuck in her old ways meant, you spared me, so I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to kill you.
Yeah, she was a good foil in that regard, but she didn't have any function as a character that didn't exist to do anything but affect the other people.
She's a plot point. She is a plot point in character form, but that's okay. But no. All the Tanakh are interesting because you have the three kind of tribes, don't you? You have the desert tribe, you have the mountain tribe, the sky tribe, and then you have like the land tribe, the lowland tribe.
Which I feel like they could have just called them like I feel like lowland for some reason has like this kind of connotation where I'm like, it sounds like they're slurring you.
Yeah, lowland and you got this like the mountain tribe, the highland tribe, and the lowland tribe. It's like, get in your place.
I feel like they could have called them like the marsh tribe or something, considering where they were located.
Yeah, you know? But it's like, it's interesting because you have these three tribes, and I feel like there's no way that the first tribe you don't encounter is the desert tribe. Like, I feel you're going to encounter the desert tribe first, which I think's interesting because they are definitely the least involved in this entire fucking game. Like, it's like they have the desert's like one of the biggest parts.
Dude, once I got out of the desert and was like done with the side quests, you're right, I didn't see them anymore.
They serve no purpose.
They don't even show up in the desert part of the story.
No, they don't. They're just there. Again, they exist, and it's an interesting side quest, and it's like, who did you side with? Did you side with the guy or the girl?
I think I sided with Draka, just because that was the guy.
I also sided with Draka.
Yeah. I think I was like, I helped you out first. I'd feel kind of dirty just killing you.
I was like,
I helped you. I already helped you kill a Thunderjaw. I feel like it'd be kind of dirty to just kill you now. You're not being that unreasonable.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care that much about the resolution, but I'll just go with you because I met you first. So there we go. I helped you first, so I'll keep going on that. But yeah, the desert tribe just did nothing, like, at all. They just kind of existed, which, to be fair,
they're like the Banuk.
Yeah, I hate the desert anyway. I hate deserts. Well, we'll talk about the desert's funny enough, actually my favorite part of the game.
Yeah,
but
it is.
I hate deserts in video games, like that part of the desert. So I was like, whatever. Yeah. I don't care.
Whereas, they'll be the part of the game that gets the DLC.
I fucking hope not. Oh.
No, I'm just making that because, like, in the other game, the Banuk didn't really do anything in the main story, but they were like the Frozen Wilds' whole reason for existing.
You see, do you know what my current theory is? My current theory is if they do a DLC, they're gonna do it with the Quen.
You see, that's the actual thing that they'll probably do.
I think it's going to be like Iki Island expansion, where it's like a small island in East Asia or whatever, and you just explore that, and it's like a small little side story.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Or even just like send us to Hawaii or something. Even
it's going to be weird. Horizon 3. Where's Horizon 3 going to be? Because they've basically done the entirety of America now. Yeah, they've done the entirety.
Well, they've done the entirety of America from like Colorado over, so it's like the left half.
They've done like half to like 2/3. They've done like 2/3 ish of America, and it's like all you've got left is the right, and it's like
if you want to go from if you want to go to the New York next for some reason, you know.
I don't think they'll ever do New York because you're getting into like I don't know. That just seems like a boring area to me because it's like, at least with San Francisco, it was like, beaches and kind of islandy kind of vibe. Yeah, whereas New York, it was really funny to see fucking buildings and nothing else.
Yeah, like a joke that's commonly made about California is that it will eventually be taken back by the Pacific Ocean. It was really funny to get to San Francisco and be like, yeah, that happened.
And it did get taken back.
Yeah.
So, of course it did.
Like, even the one Vista Point was underwater. That was really amusing to me.
Yeah, it was. But no. Yeah, I don't know where they're going to go next. I don't think it'll be in America. I do think they'll probably do somewhere else.
I could imagine them just picking a couple of cool locations throughout the world, really.
One doing, like, multiple little mini-maps instead.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting way to do it. But yeah, where were we? Where were we in story? Oh, Desert Tribe.
We were talking about the Desert Tribe and how
they suck. Fuck them off.
Have side quests. They were like also like I think Ricala's main supporters all came from most of them came from the Desert Tribe because that's where she was
losers. From. Get them out, dude. Fucking suck. They didn't really serve much purpose. The Mountain Tribe, the Sky Tribe. I love their big wall, and it's like we won't move. We got big wall, and then Aloy's like wall go boom. It's like damn you. Foiled.
It was really funny because I was like, huh, you're gonna just bring down the wall. That seems a bit drastic, but then like no one got hurt, so I was like, okay, it worked, so fair enough.
Yeah, that's luck.
And that was
got fucking hurt. Dude, that's just
that
luck.
Yeah, I know. Everyone else was also like, you know what? Like everyone from the wall was like, you know what? Fair enough. That's what he said. That's what you did.
Yeah, everyone's like, you were cool. Fair enough. I do like that mission though with Katalo. It's a good introductory mission to. Well, you already met him at the embassy, but to me, that's a good mission to again reintroduce him and more so reintroduce him as a main character this time around. Like at that point, and just having him kind of follow you and having that kind of trust built because that's kind of what I like how that relationship started kind of out of respect. Because a lot of times with like most people are like, you're a pretty good fighter, Aloy. Whereas Katala's just like, yeah.
Katala's like, you are a good fighter.
Yeah, everyone's like, you were a pretty good fighter. Hey, let's be friends. Have a beer on me. Whereas Katala's just like, yeah, you're pretty fucking cool. I respect that. Like that's it.
Yeah,
it's like a mutual respect for each other, which I like quite a bit.
Yeah, it is nice because I also feel like if she were to just. I feel like he wouldn't have the same attitude that all of her friends from the first game had if he had known her before. Like if you saw him again, he wouldn't have been like, "Oh, where'd you go?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah, he would have just been like, "You're back." He'd be like Sojiro, dude. He'd be like,
you're back. Yeah, meeting up with him again would have been like meeting up with Tanala, who was like, "Yo, what's up? Kill a machine with me?"
Yeah, that's what the thing about the side characters in this game is the side characters are so much better than the first game now that I'm like, don't bring the fucking first game back. Like, just don't bring them back. Leave them over there, dude. Because it's like the thing is when Horizon 3 inevitably comes, I'll be like, oh, there's Katalu. Oh, there's Zoe. Oh, there is like even if they bring like back like just random members of the tribe, I'm probably more likely to remember fucking Draka than I am to remember anyone from the first game. I'm like,
yeah.
Just keep them all like, oh, this is great. We've got good characters now. Like, that's good. Because the thing with Horizon 1 was Aloy's a great character, and Silence is a great character. And, like, Sobek is a good character. But other than those three characters,
like, everyone else just did the job. And that was it.
Satisfactory at best. It was like, yeah. So to have all these good characters was pretty great. And then the Lowland Tribe. Like I say, I love the whole idea that their whole like culture is based off of these old flashbacks of what is essentially a museum. And I'm like, that's great. I really liked it.
Dude, the moment where you when you got the Ether AI and then it came back on, like the holograms came back on, that was a really cool moment. I was like, oh yeah.
I really like that as well because you have the whole Hikaru thing where he's like, I saw a vision of everyone coming together, and then for everybody to actually see it and kind of have that be the unifying thing is like a really good moment.
Yeah, and now they understand what he means rather than him just being big and being like, this is what we're gonna do now.
Yeah. And you know, it's kind of funny to have them all be on like, it's because it's kind of like, it's like a war museum, right? It was like a kind of propaganda kind of thing. And it's like, I like the idea of like, we need you, see, kind of pieces of material being lost to time, and then people in the far-flung future find it and are like, this is the people. These are who fought with the people in the cartoon. Like,
I'm just imagining someone being like, there was this Uncle Sam that wanted us to fight.
Exactly, that's exactly what it's like, you know. Or it's like Uncle Sam, you know. Like genuinely, there was a small part of me when they kept saying the 10. There was an initial part of me, because obviously obviously because it's the West. There was a small part of me before it was the War Museum where I kind of thought it was something to do with like them seeing something like that. My initial thing was, what if their initial capital, because it was like a massive. I saw it was like a massive arena on the map. My initial thing was,
Yeah.
what if that was a sports stadium and their whole mythos was based on like a sports team's lore or something? Like if it was
that would have been funny.
That's what I thought it was originally, was like the 10 are like this. It's just a sports team that were like their fans' nickname was the 10 or something, and it was like, or the players were called the 10 or something. It's like it was built up on that, and it was similar,
also
but...
having everyone that you came across talk about the wings of the 10 was a really good slow burn for the really great moments towards the end.
Yeah, it was just kind of funny where it's just like, oh yeah, just ride the sun wing. It was, it was a good moment. But no, I liked the Aether missions quite a bit. They were fun. But my favorite mission in the game was the Poseidon mission. I'm so glad I did not have this spoiled
before the Aether mission.
Oh,
just
did
because
you?
Because I was still side questing in the desert, and then I just ended up standing on top of it at some point. So I was like, I guess I'll do this.
I see. I side quested in the desert, got all the way to it, and then left it, and then went and did Aether because I'm a little idiot that has to do them in order. I was like, no, you're not doing it. Even though you're a meter here, you're going to walk all the way over there and then all the way back.
I was like, I'm already overpowered. I'm already more overpowered than the third one. All of them. So, so it's like, the main story isn't going to catch me, so I might as well just do it now.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. But no, man. Like, honestly, I went into that mission. I'm so glad I didn't get this spoiled. Like, genuinely. I genuinely do not remember. It's been a long time. I think it might have been Royal was the last time where I played a game and I genuinely like smiled with joy. And it wasn't like,
it was
cool. Just such, like, honestly, like it was one of those moments where I nearly like shed a happy tear where I was like, that is fucking incredible. Like it is. I just didn't see it coming because I was like, oh yeah, Las Vegas, yeah. And then just when the neon just kind of explodes everywhere, I was like, this is so good. And I was just...
Dude, even from the beginning of that quest, like Aloy just walking up to the three dudes, the one who started narrating and her reaction being like, that got me good.
I love the idea that they're just actors, dude. I just love the idea that they're like an acting tribe, like they're just like an actors guild that are roaming around and they were like, oh, we heard of this place called Las Vegas, and it was like full of like
also
theater, stage
hearing
plays.
People in Horizon's world just say Las Vegas cracks me up to no end too.
I just that's like some of the stuff, because you don't really get that much in the first Horizon. Whereas in this game, you get so many like bits and pieces where you just hear them talk about San Francisco or you hear them talk about Las Vegas, and it just makes you smile because they're getting things wrong or they're interpreting things in different ways, and it's just kind of the innocence of it is just kind of, it's just it's amusing. It's just kind of wholesome in a way, because it's in
the other game you could piece together that it was in like Colorado, but there wasn't any direct references.
I think especially because Colorado is not that well known. Like, obviously, it's well known in America, right? But outside of America, Colorado isn't one of your go-to places that people think of when they think of America. You think of your San Francisco, your California, your New York, right? Your Florida, unfortunately, for many people. You think of those. You don't
Horizon,
think of
Florida. Imagine all of the
Could you imagine all the stories?
Everywhere.
Oh, imagine if there was a tribe just based off of all the Florida Man
stories. That'd be so funny. I changed my mind. They should just do the east half of America next.
To be fair, seeing the theme parks in the Horizon world, just like derelict theme parks and stuff like that, would be kind of creepy, but cool.
That'd be the way Ohio gets into the game, just a rusty version of Cedar Point.
Yeah, exactly. But no, man, I love this mission. The 3 characters, I don't remember their names off the top of my head, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're escaping me. Narrator guy starts with like a K.
Yeah, I think so. But you basically have narrator guy, main guy, and then tax guy.
Yeah.
But honestly, because I went there and I'm like, oh, this is weird and quirky, but I wasn't expecting that good of a mission. And then when you get the rebreather and you go under there and it's like the neon and everything, I was like, oh man, it's such a good mission. And I've got so many good screenshots. I should post them on Twitter now because it's been so long. But I've got so many great screenshots from that section. And it's just like talking about the collectibles, the little artifacts that you get, and the fact that you can like beam into the sky of different holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
that was fun.
the traditions, and it's like New Year's, and it's like, what's with all these fireworks? And it's like, oh, they must be like celebrating another like year of life or something. It's like, you're getting close, and it's like,
Yeah.
just stuff like that is that whole
Stanley
mission.
Chen's story that played out in like the audio logs and stuff while you were doing that too was really cool. I was like, oh, yeah, you were a cool dude.
Yeah. Especially because most of the time in the audio logs, it's either, depressing, and like everybody's just like, fuck it, end of the world, like let's go down, like the black boxes, right, where it's just like a load of fucking final moments before death montage, or it's like evil people being evil, where it's just like stabbing you in the back for one last time. It was just kind of nice, especially because
his creation got to live on in the end.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It was really nice.
It was kind of a nice. It was like there was a positive end to it in a way, in a sense, right? Because it was like all of the stuff got to live on, and also I just like the idea of someone loving a place as fucking like, infamous as Las Vegas, and Bill putting it in a dome, and it just like that somehow preserving, like, you've lost so much, you basically lost the entirety of San Francisco, but you have this whole dome of Las Vegas that survived, and it's like, it's just so good. And it's like, I really hope, even if we don't see it again, I hope that in the third one we hear stories about them still going in Las Vegas, and you just hear
I hope we hear like a mention of it or something.
Like, I'm sure Aaron will probably bring it up in conversation.
That would be like a really good point to like the whole theme of life rebuilding and all of that, in a way that is beyond just the how it had before.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, because you just, again, it feels like the world of Horizon is moving in this game. The original Horizon, it felt so much like it was living in the past, and we're in the present, and only Aloy and Silence are looking towards the future, while everybody else just kind of fucking exists. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Where this game, it feels like there's things trying to make change. You've got this temporary truce between the Karja and the Tanakh. Then you have Hikaru trying to sort things out between the tribes and trying to unify
Hikaru's whole motivation for that was because he wanted his people to learn how to write too, and like preserve their own history beyond just their tattoos and stuff.
Yeah. And it's just like, again, with Las Vegas, this whole kind of idea of people branching out to try and build their own entertainment and, like, again, learn stuff, or the Quen exploring out of their realm to... I really do like the idea of people like the Quen who have had this knowledge. We can move on to it now, but the fact that they have this knowledge and they have certain information, but the fact that they still treat it like a tribe would, like a primitive group would, as a kind of gospel, in a way, of the gospel of Ted Farrow and his assistant Elizabeth Sobek.
My God.
And
assistant. That part made me wince when they were like, Sobek was his assistant. I was like, ooh.
So off. So off.
Oh my God.
Close. So off.
If that got me to respond like that, it must have taken a lot of self-control from Aloy to be like, I want to punch you, I really do.
Yeah. And I also just love the thing of how their focuses are out of date. It's like they've got the old iPhone, so they can't access the new files. I just love that idea of them thinking that knowledge is forbidden because they don't have the latest patch. Like, it's like, I'm like, now you know how it feels to play a game on day one. It's like, wow. It's like, what, Aloy doesn't say things every time she picks shit up now? That's great. Future generations are gonna love that.
They cut out the picking up things. Yeah, man, that would have been nice to have.
But yeah, it's just, we'll talk about that mission. That mission is my least favorite of the three, but I still liked what it did story-wise, Yeah. Because it's like, again, the Quen are interesting. They just, it's also nice to see.
It would have been really weird if I had, because I wasn't stuck to doing the order, so if I had ended up like standing on top of that one and doing it first, and then having to go back to the Quen like way later instead of immediately after, that would have been really weird.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's like, we've talked about It is. What's her name again? What's her name?
Alva.
Alva. I was thinking Alba. I was like, no, it's not Alba. It's like Alva.
Who is Alba?
No one.
I feel like that's a not in this game, but I feel like that's someone else in a different game somewhere.
You see, it's because it's Alva. I'm thinking of Albert, and I'm also thinking of Ibert from AI: The Somnium Files, because I played that recently as well.
Yeah.
So it's like all those kinds of similar 4-letter words, and I'm like, oh no, 4-letter names. I'm like, oh no. But now Alva is an interesting character again. It's like someone who's very much interested in that knowledge, and then when she comes to reveal, like when she comes to the realization that actually her tribe's kind of holding her back, and not everything is, as she once believed before she left. And it's like her coming to that realization is an interesting character moment, and I'm like,
yeah,
I really like that, because obviously you have Beta, and we'll get back to Beta in a bit, I'm sure, but you have Beta who knows, like, has all this knowledge, doesn't have really humanity, but she has all this knowledge, and she kind of thinks differently because she's come from the, that other world of, hey, being in this spaceship with a bunch of immortal humans, basically, and having this.
They didn't even talk to her besides Tilda. It was just she talked to the AIs that were for the Apollo thing.
Yeah, and that's about it. And it's like, so you have that, and then to have someone like Alva, who doesn't have everything, but she's interested in it, and she's still she is kind of from that kind of Beta perspective, where she is more of a kind of scholar, more of a person that's willing to learn and stuff like that than a fighter, but coming at it from a different angle, because obviously she comes from the Earth that is current, where everything is a bit more tribal, is a nice kind of comparison. It's kind of a shame you didn't get that much dynamic between those two, because I think those two would have an interesting dynamic. I'm sure we'll probably see plenty of those two.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see it in the next game. It is kind of a bummer that the only one that Beta interacts with besides Aloy seemed to be Varhol, aside from like, oh, they just mention trying to talk to her here and there.
Yeah. What are you on about? They tried really hard, apparently. We just never saw it.
I'm having a lot of fun trying to imagine Katalo and her interacting for like a brief spell, just looking at each other, a minute of silence, and then walking away. It's
always like I say, you obviously, and the side dialogue and all the mocap does such a good job of making even these side conversations interesting. It's just funny how long this game is, and how a lot of the game is tell don't show, because you hear a lot of stories and stuff like that where most of the time everyone's just sitting on their own, not interacting, but you get these character dynamics from hearing Eren talk about how much him and Zoe fight a lot, or hearing about how
Katalo's great at Machine Strike.
Yeah, Machine Strike. Yeah, just bits and pieces like that are always quite interesting, which I like quite a lot. So obviously you have those three. Oh, go on. Sorry.
Some of my favorite things when I would walk back into the base would just be the dialogue that the three of them were having between each other, being like, oh, this old world thing, blah, blah, blah.
Eren discovering fucking heavy metal. Of course he loves heavy metal.
Yeah.
I just like how he's just like sitting there drumming and stuff like that. It's like, I like the idea of Varl and Zoe trying to get knowledgeable about everything, and fucking Eren finds YouTube.
Eren just having a jam session, yeah.
Eren just goes on YouTube recommended for an hour and sees what he can find. But yeah, there are some very interesting dynamics. Obviously, in between all this, you have that beta mission where you have to go and rescue her from the cloning lab, which is interesting. Is it a cloning lab, or was it like a preservation?
I think it was just
a lab. It was a cryofreeze lab, wasn't
it?
A preservation lab. That was an interesting little mission. I also do like the idea. I did like the whole concept of Beta getting in on their plan, but thinking that they were way further ahead than they actually were. I did like that.
Yeah, that is really funny.
Because I did like how she just wasn't the solution in a way. She wasn't just like the "I'm here, this is how you win" button. It was very much "I'm here, let's do." Wait, what? I thought you were way further ahead than this. What? You only have one of the
the
sub functions? What?
And oh no, I've made a mistake.
Yeah, I've had a mistake. Let me have a panic attack real quick. Like,
Yeah.
Because those interactions are like a lot of my favorite parts of this game is just talking to everybody and like going through all those dialogue options, which I know isn't for everybody. I know a lot of people will see all those and sigh and go, "Oh fucking hell, exposition, here we go." But as someone who has played through Persona 5 like 4 times, I love as much dialogue as I can get.
The funniest part about all of that is people will be like, "Oh, sigh," and click the button, even though you don't really need, even though it's optional. They'll be like, "Well, here we go."
Well, you feel like you're missing out, don't you? And you will miss out because there's so much good dialogue.
Some people will just some people will look at their phone while they do it anyway.
Yeah, basically. But to be fair, I do that sometimes when I'm like, I want to hear, I don't need to fully concentrate, but I'm listening, but I need, like, what time is it? Oh, someone sent me a text, I'll reply real quick. But it's like, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm like, yeah. You know, it's still entertaining whether I'm watching it or not.
Yeah.
But no, I do like those dynamics. I do like those interactions. I do think, like I say, Beta, I think intentionally she kind of grinds on you a tiny bit, but
she's like the thematic opposite to Aloy in so many ways. So if you're someone who likes Aloy, then obviously, yeah, Beta would probably annoy you a little bit. Mm-hmm. Also, Ashley Birch does a really good job at portraying the two of them differently in a believable manner. She does a good job
of portraying the same character in 3 different ways when you think about it. She also has to go back. Yeah. So it's like she basically has to do 3 different versions of the character, which I think is very interesting. But no, I do like how, again, she is the polar opposite. She is not a fighter in the slightest.
She's not a fighter. She's not confident in herself.
I can't wait for that to be the tutorial of Horizon 3, is getting her out in the field. Jump and press the circle button, Beta. That's how you'll get started. But yeah, they do have an interesting dynamic, and I do like how she just locks herself away and she just sits there and she's just kind of coping. Like, she's just sitting there, just trying to deal with it until the second act happens. So, you know, you get all those stuff. We have the Pharaoh shit. Let's talk about the Quen and the Pharaoh thing.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, the introduction for the Quen was my least favorite of those 3 AI gathering missions too, just because like the other 2 were really, really good, and this one just kind of did the job. They were 2
of the best.
Yeah, they were 2 of the standout moments of the game, and then this one was just like, oh. First of all, having just another tribe of people that were like not the Tanakh, that was like, huh, I wasn't ready for that.
Especially because it's like you had the Tanakh, you had, oh god, what was those tribe called? You had
the Utaru.
The Utaru tribe, that's it. You're better at remembering names than I am, Hunter. Although, to be fair, you did only just finish it a week and a half ago, whereas for me it's been a month.
Well, I can remember like the general groups of people a lot of the time. It's like, if you ask me to name an Utaru that's not Zoe, I don't think I could tell you.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you crap. I couldn't tell you any. Like I keep having to, in my head, I keep having to remind myself. Yeah, it's Far Zenith. Yeah, it's Alva. Yeah, it's Draka was that guy's name. Like,
I couldn't tell you who the lady that he was opposing was. To be fair, I can't remember her.
No, or it's like, or even like, you know, it's like I just have to keep reminding myself. Or like Hikaru, I just have to keep remembering these names because they go out of my head. Especially when they're names like this. It's like, oh no. I need help. It's not as easy as God of War or something like that, where you can just go Kratos, boy, Dwarf 1, Dwarf 2, right? Who else have we got? Oh, we got what was it? I can't even remember the characters from God of War. No, Freya. It was Brock and Sindri. It was Brock and Sindri with their actual names. I remember Brock and Sindri. You had Boulder. You had Freya. I didn't remember Freya's name. Freya actually went out of my head. But at the same time,
to be fair, you know her for a long time before you get her name.
Also, it's like you play games, dude. You play them once, and it's like, for me to remember names very well, I need to like play a game multiple times. Like, the only reason, how long did it take me to remember all the characters in Persona? Like, genuinely forever. Like, I was 30 hours in, I was like, what's his fucking name? Ryuji, that's it. He's a great character, love him. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
like it takes a lot of work to remember a lot of characters, especially in a game like this where you have so many good characters. Like if it's a shit game and there's only one or two good characters, it's easy to remember their names because the rest of the game's that lackluster.
Ones that matter. Yeah,
because they're the only ones that matter. You know, it's like, for example, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, right? All you need to remember is, you know, Ratchet, Clank, Rivet, Dr. Nefarious, you know, Kit, that was it. And that's about it. That's all I need to remember because no one else fucking mattered. You know, it's like stuff like that. Ratchet and Clank's not a shit game, but you know, with games like that where there's fewer characters, you know.
Or like Deathloop, we could only remember Colt and Juliana.
Exactly. Or, you know, you can remember Celine from Returnal, or...
She was the only character besides the astronaut, and he...
Shut the fuck up.
Unless you want to talk about the bosses like they were characters.
But to be fair, it's like... it's like sometimes it takes long. Like I've just had to sit there. This is me laughing here. I was trying to remember Alex's name from True Colors because it's you know. Sometimes I am like, oh God, what are the characters called? I don't just instantly.
To be fair, we play a lot of video games, and most of the video games we play have a lot of names in them.
True.
So, like, it's a lot of information to just keep tucked away. And then
but it also makes you feel like you're just losing your mind. You know what I mean? When it's like. You're like, well, God, what's their name? What's their name? I only played it 12 games ago. What's their name?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, it's been 6 months and I've played a dozen games since then. But why did it take me so long to remember Alex Chen's name?
Yeah.
I don't remember what her brother was called. What's wrong with me?
Gabe.
That was it. Gabe.
Yeah.
And then Ryan and Steph.
Ryan and Steph.
Okay, thank fucking God. Okay, no one else matters. Oh, Ethan, the little shit. Fucking hate him. Because
I don't remember his mom's name. Because she was Gabe's girlfriend or whatever, so she was like mildly important.
We're not here to talk about that anyway. We're going on a tangent.
We already had that one.
We're an hour into this spoilercast. If you're listening right now, you're in for a wild ride. You've probably listened to the Persona 5 Royal spoilercast where I just went on 6 million tangents. I remember 0 of that spoilercast. I feel like I should listen to that at some point again and just go, oh my God, we went on a trip. But no, we were talking about beta.
I think we had already talked about beta. We had moved on to talking about the Quen.
Oh, the Pharaoh 2, Pharaoh Jr. was a piece of shit.
CEO.
The CEO.
That was a good pun.
I love that. That was great. How they read CEO as CEO, and it's like, I'm surprised his friend wasn't just called Coo. It's just COO.
Yeah.
This is dude. And this is his lackey vice president, and it's like, oh hi, vice president. VIP. Oh, like honestly, yeah. This is POTUS, dude. Look, it's POTUS.
Yeah.
I really hope if there's a Quen expansion, that's what they're all called. It's like, look, guy's name's POTUS. There's VIP.
Just a bunch of acronyms being pronounced as words.
Yeah, dude. Fabi is over there, dude. The Fabi. That's a separate tribe to the Quen, dude.
Sia.
Sia, dude. They take crimes very seriously against the tribe. Let me tell you, Hunter. You don't want to mess with the Sia. But yeah, that Quen mission in San Francisco was interesting because there was so much lore, and also when we were talking about that kind of positive story in Las Vegas where it's like this lived on, the kind of horror story of Pharaoh's tomb is so creepy. I didn't listen to many of the audio logs in the game. I listened to quite a few, but I didn't listen to all of them. That's a standout to me of the little girl.
They did such a good job at building tension for that too, because it's like, especially tension that's not that like, for most of them is already past, because you could make the guess that Pharaoh treated them poorly, but this did a good job at being like, in the moment, it's a very tense scenario. It
doesn't help that you also have a dick with you. You have CEO, who is basically Pharaoh too, and it's like, oh no, it's like you've got to deal with him, and then again, playing with that expectations with the Far Zenith being alive and them hinting at Pharaoh still being alive. I was like, oh God, please no. Like, I'm like, oh, please don't tell me he survived. And then to have him be like this pile of goo kind of thing. Like
he was like an I have no mouth, but I must scream mass of flesh, essentially.
Yeah. I'm glad
good on the doctor guy for like screwing him into that, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right? Like they've been this mound of flesh is like that's like
a mound of
deserved,
mutated.
well deserved.
Yeah.
He deserved an eternity of being a monstrous thing that then got set on fire. Wonderful, perfect.
Yeah, being burned alive is a pretty bad way to go as well. So when he finally did die, it's not like it was quick.
Yeah, and I do like how again. With CO. CO is any other video game, you'd have CO be a dragged out secondary antagonist where he just keeps showing up throughout the entire game and you're like, fuck off, I want you to die. And Gorilla's like, oh, we heard you at the first time you wanted this guy to die, so we'll just kill him straight away. We good?
Yeah.
He served his purpose. And I also like the other guy, I don't remember his name, but the new
guy
kind
who
of head
took
of
his place.
the Quern. Where they were like, they tried bullshitting him, where it's like, he sacrificed himself, and then he's like,
oh, did he?
CO's a prick. Like, say what you actually happened, or we'll kill you. He's like, yeah, Pharaoh was in there, and we burned him alive. Okay, no one hears about this. We're just gonna go away. Like, you watch over Aloy. Bye.
Yeah.
That was a much better mission. I almost forgived the first Quen mission because they got a rebound with a good Quen
it was
mission.
like weird because that one was clearly just setting up for the other, just establishing the people you need to know for the other one. Which,
to be fair, if I had known going into the Quen one that there was going to be a second part that was a lot better, I would have been like, oh, that's a fair enough setup. Whereas when in hindsight, when you're playing it as just an individual mission, you're like, that was fucking shit. Like that was a pretty mediocre.
Like those
mission.
other two were so good. What was that one?
It's a load of boring puzzles. That's like, oh, I hope you like moving things.
You have to fight a flying monster at the end.
Yeah, but no, pretty decent. And then obviously you have the 2/3 twist. The taking Gaia. We haven't really mentioned Gaia. Gaia exists and Gaia's there. Gaia's a pretty chill AI. Again, I like all the lore and stuff like that they did with Gaia. Actually being able to communicate with her and have these kinds of conversations is always good.
It was really cool.
Also, we forgot about that collectible. I did like the observatory collectible where you kind of took those
the
photos.
drones. I collected kind of all of those too.
Yeah. I got all of those. They were pretty cool. I liked them. Not as cool as the artifacts in Las Vegas, but they were pretty cool. I do like those.
Yeah.
But obviously you have to take Gaia to merge with Hephaestus, the little prick. Which can we say, way more annoying in this game than he was in the first one. Like
he was just kind of like, oh, Hephaestus went rogue and makes the machines bad. He wasn't really much of an entity in the first game, like directly.
Yeah, in the first game, he just felt like wacky AI that's gone wrong and is just building a load of dinos because. He's like that. He's like that 6-year-old in your class who really loved fucking dinosaurs. Not fucking them, like it just really liked dinosaurs. Period. Right? He's just a really big fan of dinosaurs, and they were like, "Look, here's my Triceratops, dude. Look, here's my Velociraptor. Yo, let me show you my Stegosaurus. Here's my T-Rex." And that's what Hephaestus was in the first game. This second game, he's like, "You little shits, you tried to defeat me. I'm gonna fucking make your
now
life
I'm gonna
hell.
make an even better Thunderjaw.
Here's a mammoth. Deal with it."
Dude, the Tremor Tusks were easier to deal with than I was expecting them to be.
I thought they would be a way
Maybe
bigger
I was
threat.
Overpowered when I was fighting them, but like, yeah, that's probably
so
part
are the
of it,
snakes as well. The snakes, I thought the snakes were going to be a bit more of a problem than they were in the end.
Yeah.
Nothing still beats that Thunderjaw of being absolutely terrifying and getting in your way.
Yeah, even like the other one, the Slaughter Spine, I still like fighting the Thunderjaw more.
Yeah, I agree. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked a lot of them. I liked quite a few of the new machines, but some of the new machines I thought were more annoying than the old ones. Like, in the original game, I was like, I liked most of them. Some of them were a tiny bit annoying. But this
in
game,
the first
I'm like,
game, the only one that I remember really annoying me to deal with was like the Shell Walker, and then eventually
I feel like they
found out
fixed the Shell Walker in this game. I feel like the
Yeah.
Shell Walkers were way easier to deal with in this game. Than
But then they replaced them with like
the fucking turtles. The fucking
Yeah, the
tortoises
turtles.
suck. They're so
Dude.
bad. I hate them so much.
I don't like playing whack-a-mole.
They're so bad. Like, they're awful. God, hated them. Not good. And I remember seeing those in the reveal trailer and be like, Tortoise? Cool! And now I look at that and I'm like, prick, get him out of here. I don't like you. Get him in the bin, because they're just so unfun to play against, like fight against. They're just not fun.
Or even like, I'm forgetting what it is exactly. It's like the one
Which
that
one?
throws the things.
The bear?
The bear?
There's
Is
the
it a
bear. Yeah, like the bear that throws shit at you. It's like a bear.
Oh, no, it's one of the, it's like a, I don't know, not the bristleback, but the other one that has like the tusks or whatever.
Oh yeah, I know what you're on about. Yeah.
Yeah, it like while you're like watching it go about its path, it'll just drop random stuff too.
Oh yeah, the fertilizer one, the one that just fucking drops poo everywhere, basically.
Yeah.
That's its role in the ecosystem, is to drop a load of poo everywhere and let the flowers
Yeah, that
grow.
one's annoying.
Yeah, there were plenty. Like, I liked the new machines in this game, but also I was like, if we're doing Horizon 3, guys, hear me out. Quality over quantity. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Don't bring Turtle back. Don't bring him back.
Don't bring Turtle back.
Don't fix him like you fix Claw Strider. Just don't bring him back. Just leave him away. The Loch Ness monster thing as well. You can leave that as well. That can just stay in Loch Ness as far as I leave that in San Francisco.
I didn't like that one either. Although maybe I'm mostly speaking because my last experience fighting one of those was in the arena where I didn't have control of my loadout.
Yeah. I just wasn't a massive fan of them in general, because it's like, at least with the what's the T-Rex called again?
The Slaughter Spine.
Well, okay, it's Slaughter Spine. For some reason, I was like, Slaughter Spine. That doesn't sound right in my head. I'm like, no, that is it. That is it. But no, at least that you can shoot the turrets off, and then you get a massive cannon that you can fire back at it. Whereas Loch Ness is just a piece of shit, and it's just like, make it stop already.
It's got so many annoying attacks that will interrupt what
all
you're
of its
trying
lasers.
to do.
Yeah,
like its stupid spinny disc.
Oh, the spinny disc. First thing I did on that thing every time was remove its spinny disc launcher. I'm like, you're not having the spinny disc.
Yeah. Oh man.
No, not happening. But yeah. Anyway, let's carry on with the story. So obviously they're trying to copy Hephaestus in. We haven't talked about the cauldrons. What did you think of the cauldrons this time around, Hunter? Actually, let's talk about the cauldrons.
They were fine except for that one with the water. That one can suck it.
Sucks, dude. The water temple sucks. I don't
the
care
water one can suck it.
I don't care if there was a reference to Zelda in it. I don't care. It sucked. I don't care if you put the Triforce on one of the doors, because
dude, the Triforce is everywhere in this game. If you look hard enough, triangles are the shape of the future.
Yeah, I know, but there's one specific door where there's literally only like 3 triangles in that entire corridor on top of a door, and it is literally just the Triforce there, and it's in the water temple. So I have a feeling that I feel like someone placed that on purpose.
So because I'm just always seeing them in like the geometry of the cauldrons specifically, even everywhere else, even in the first game, I was making jokes about that. I probably saw that and just didn't acknowledge it.
Yeah, I just assumed that one was put there on purpose, as if it was like a little water temple nod. And I was like, this is like a water temple because it fucking sucks. Like, this is the worst one.
By far, like all of the other ones were inoffensive.
I really loved. One of my favorite things was seeing that there was 6 of the giraffe towers. I can't remember what they're called.
Tall necks.
Tall necks. That's it. There were 6 tall necks, but there was only 5 on the map, and I was like, is my game bugged? Where's the fucking 6th tall neck? And then going into a cauldron and having that being building the tall neck and then riding it out was such a cool. That's my favorite cauldron probably in the game, because
that was
really
my
good.
favorite by default of its being the one that I can actually remember,
Yeah,
doing the thing in. The other ones were cauldrons.
Yeah, they were fine. They weren't.
At least they didn't
bad.
have. At least they weren't water based.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like I say, they were fine. They were fine. Anyway, you're going into the abandoned cauldron, the cauldron that has 2 cores to activate Gaia to absorb Hephaestus. Which happens. Hephaestus does get absorbed, but when Hephaestus got absorbed, I was like, how's he getting out? Because there's no way you can do a Horizon game without Hephaestus. I guess they could. They could be like, oh, Hephaestus was busy making different machines in fucking Europe and Asia that we need help.
Yeah, with. I guess you could be reasonably assumed that he did have a whole bunch of them around the world, perhaps.
But at the same time, yeah, he kind of needed to escape, because how the hell are you going to have Horizon 3 be anything other than the new
fighting
entity,
machines,
whatever the entity is? I can't remember.
Yeah, Nemesis,
that was it. What generic fucking name.
Yeah. every time I think about it, I just think about the monster from Resident Evil 3.
I just think of there's a theme park in the UK called Alton Towers, and like the most famous ride is called Nemesis. So every time they say Nemesis, I'm just like, the roller coaster. Like, what? Like
every time they mention it, I just hear stars.
Yeah, I just hear the way that they say Nemesis in the queue line, because they say it in a very weird way. Like the announcer says it in a very weird way, which I can't reenact.
It's probably because they're trying to make it be like, oh, hop aboard, but you're also saying a very
Nemesis!
sinister
or something like that. Yeah, it's like that. It's like very British guy like screams Nemesis at you, and it's like, that's all I hear whenever they say Nemesis. It's just a British guy in the corner going, Nemesis.
It's a good thing it is a good thing it was only an entity for the last 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah, true. But yeah, anyway. We're getting distracted. So then the Farzianifs come in, and it's like, it's time for the plot twist. Dude. It's time for an Act 2 plot twist. Can't have the game end too quickly. And I will say, fair play. I did not expect them to kill Vol. I will give them that. I did not expect them to kill him off until the Farzianifs busted in. As soon as Farzianif busted in, I was like, "Bye, Vol, you're dead."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, sevens." It's funny because, like, you know, like when we gave our first impressions, I'm like, all I have always friends are clingy losers. What gives? And like, eventually, Varl did settle into like, I wasn't particularly interested in him, but he served his role fine.
No, he grew on me to the point where when he did die, I was like, fair enough, you got me to reverse my opinion, so I actually kind of felt bad that he died. Where I was like,
I felt kind of bad. I was like, oh god, I was like, I didn't want you to kill him.
But you know, it's always the nice ones, Hunter. It's always the nice ones that die. And it's just like, to be fair, it's just like, it's such a bad, like, it's just like a sad way to go as well. It's just like, fucking Farzianif brute just walks up and stabs you. It's like, it's not like, he could have like died to a tremor tusk, or he could have died to like a slaughter spy and like bazookaing him into oblivion. No, just dies to bald man stabbing him. Like, oh, that's like kind of sad. And then you have the whole Beta being like, kill me, which I saw that happening. I saw her being kidnapped again. Like, I think everyone saw that, like, from from a mile away.
From the point of Gaia being like, all right, you have to go assemble my things and all that, I'm like, all right, so basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna do that, and then they're gonna come and take it. Yeah, they're gonna come and take it.
It and Beta, yeah. Because Beta's like, promise me you'll kill me if they take me. I'm like, this classic storytelling trope where they say, I promise, and then they don't. And then I'm like, oh, wow.
Classic.
Of the classic. So, yeah, that all happens. Which, yeah, again, I did feel bad for Varl. He grew on me to a point where when he did die, I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. But also, at least it wasn't Katalo or Erend, so I don't...
Yeah, it was like, it sucks that you're dead, but also, literally, anybody but Zoe dying there, too, would have upset me more.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the logical choice, right? When you look at all of them, you're like, it's the logical choice, because it couldn't be one of the new ones, because Aloy wouldn't have reacted as strongly. So it kind of had to be Varl or Erend, and Varl was the person that had been connected to the new characters as well as the old characters more, so it made sense that from a story perspective he had to go. Because of Varl's attachment to both Zoe and Beta, right? It was like, okay, he has to go because he's kind of the link that's kind of keeping everyone as a team right now. We need that Civil War Avengers split up in a way, right? So that they're all kind of a bit fractured, so they have to come together again in the final act.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that was to kill Varl. He was the only option, because if Erend died, Zoe would have been like, lol, bye, who cares?
KW.
Yeah. Like, that would have been it. But I was still like, it kind of sucks, you know? Because I guess that's like, Aloy's oldest friend, I guess, by like a week, because of Erend was a bit late.
To be fair, like, Aloy got reintroduced to the tribe around the same time that Erend was hanging out there. So technically, she met them both at like the same time.
She met them both at the exact same time, but because Erend went back to Meridian first, Varl got a weak head start on becoming her friend. Is basically what happened.
Yeah.
And I bet you he's like, that was a bad week, because if it had just been Erend, then he probably would have taken my place and would have died. Oh well. Yeah. I'm just like, who's winning now? I'm catching up real quick now.
Not to mention, in the first game, you saw more of Erend anyway.
Yeah, true. Very true.
He caught up already.
I feel like Erend's like one of the mascots now of Horizon in a way, you know? He's like the Daxter in a way. It's like, you can't, like, Aloy's the main character, but like, Erend's the guy that's there.
Erend's
like,
the sidekick.
Yeah, he's the sidekick. You can't kill Erend off, at least not until the final one, at least. You can't. Yeah. You can't kill him off. But yeah, it was kind of sad. But also, you then had the whole fucking the Tilda thing that happened.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Aloy's reaction to Tilda being like, check out my art gallery, was really funny, because she was like,
no,
my friend just died and you want me to look at art.
My friend just died. My new sister basically got kidnapped again. We've lost Gaia, and you want me to look at fucking art? And she's like, yeah. And like, okay, I guess I'll look at
I can't believe she's all like, she gets real angry about it. I can't believe people try to some people are like, Aloy's such a non-character. I'm like, nah, she just has natural reactions to things, man.
Yeah, true. And also, I think she does have more reactions in this game than she did in the first game. I think she does over-express. But again, I think that's on purpose, because especially in the first game, and especially at the start of this game, she's very much a reserved character. And the whole point of this game was to open Aloy up to other people in a way, was to make her no longer the outcast.
She always had emotions. She was just kind of stoic about it sometimes.
Yeah, and she still is stoic, but she also
even
does
in
show
the
her
first game,
more
I feel like she had a good arc. It was just kind of overshadowed by the other things that were happening in the story.
True. Especially when you have other characters like Silence and stuff like that, because Silence is obviously going to be a main character in the third one, but it is kind of weird to me, because it's like, after watching the end credit scene of Horizon 1, if you were to tell me like 5 years ago, oh yeah, by the way, Silence in the second one, more of like a secondary character. More of like a tertiary character.
Yeah. Like, he's important, but everything he does is behind the scenes.
I think everybody was going in and going, he's the main villain, right? He's going to be the main villain of Horizon 2. He's going to do something with Hades, and he's going to be the main villain. And then for him to just be big chilling in the background, just like feet up until everyone's playing their part, like the pawns they are.
Every now and then he'd be like, no, Aloy.
Yeah, not yet.
Showing up like Cortex in the holograms.
No. Yeah, because it's like, that's correct. Obviously, he'll play a bigger part, and I'm sure he will be a very big part of 3. And I'll place my arbitrary prediction now of Silence will grow a heart in the final game and will probably sacrifice himself to save everybody.
He'll grow a heart and he'll be the one who dies.
Literally. In fact, I'd say I'd put money on it, but I feel like you're with me on this, Hunter. I feel like that we can just come
take
back
it to the bank.
Years.
That's probably what's going to happen.
We're going to come back in 4 to 5 years. I'm going to say 4 for the next one, because COVID probably extended the dev time of Forbidden West. So let's say 3 years, 4 years, because God of War's been, 4? Yeah, let's say 4 years. In 4 years' time, we're going to come back to this, and we're going to be like, wow, Ethan Hunter, you're geniuses. You were right. Silence did grow a heart and sacrifice himself to save everybody from fucking Nemesis.
if they are like, if it is like a trilogy, and they're gonna thinking about like, I don't know, they'll probably leave it open in some regards to another one.
Oh,
after
definitely.
That. But if they wanted to be like ending this part of the story, I could see them killing off more than just one major character.
Oh, I feel like it'll be. I
you get axe crazy with it.
I feel like I feel like more than one person will die.
Kill
like,
Silence. You can kill Aaron.
Aaron might die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you see, Silence will be the big grand finale sacrifice where Aloy's like, "Shit, I've got to do this," and then Silence is like, "No, you don't," and he's too late. Silence has already taken control of whatever's fucking happening. He's already committed at that point, right? Whereas I feel like Erend will be like the halfway, will be the Varl of this game, where it's like halfway point. Sorry, someone's got to go to move the plot forward. Salut, off I go.
Yeah. Dude,
I also feel
I could see them killing Beta towards the end of the third game.
See, you think Beta? I was going to place your bets on. I feel like
they could also kill Aloy.
No, I feel like they could have killed Aloy. I think Zoe is also very likely to go, because as soon as that kid's born, yeah. Just picture it now. If in fact I'm changing my mind, Zoe dies and Erend has to raise the kid. That I'm placing that money down because obviously Varl and Erend were really close friends, and I bet you in the third game Zoe and Erend kind of become closer because of their loss, and then she dies and then he has to look after the fucking kid. We'll place
I could see that
money
happening.
on that one too.
I hope that they don't make that weird.
You're mine now.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. Like
my child.
But yeah. I could, so could easily be dying in the next one.
Everybody could. Katalo's not dying though. My homie's staying alive.
No,
He'll
Katalo's staying.
Nemesis will destroy everybody, but then he except fucking Katalo. He'll just be standing still, like victorious.
He will have learned. Yeah. He will have evolved to rocket punching. And that'll be how he wins.
The game will go full anime at the end, where it's just like one man versus an entire like orb, like a giant orb in the sky, and he just punches him to death. Like that's it. Goodbye, orb. Punches him away, and then the Team Rocket like blasts off again. Nemesis just blasts off into the sunset.
Yeah,
I can see it now. But anyway, back to Tilda. So then that's when the exposition happens. Did you trust Tilda in the slightest, by the way, at any point?
No.
Neither did I. I was like,
it's a little weird that you saved me, but what gives?
I was like, you obviously have your own intentions. Yeah, you have your own intentions, right? It's like, you saved me for a reason. What's the reason?
Hilariously enough, her throwing shade at Silence made me even more suspicious of her. Which is funny.
Throwing shade at Silence made me actually believe, okay, maybe Silence isn't that bad as that I thought. Like, it made me start going,
I was like,
Silence is probably just like,
I'm like, maybe this is just because I've known Silence for a whole other game, but I'd rather deal with him, being like, haha, you're an idiot at me, more than I'd deal with you doing whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely. Because that whole thing, because I was like, okay, we get it. Far Zeniths, that something happened on their planet. They've now had to move out. They've had to relocate to Earth to take it back. And I do love the detail that she, again, because it's like you look at it back, how she completely tells a lie in saying that, oh, their planet's to, like, it's like, okay, they're coming back. When in reality, it's a pit stop to try and trick Nemesis into thinking they're here. And
they just wanted to stay and then leave. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she was like, oh yeah, they're planning on taking Gaia to rebuild the Earth again. When in reality, they were planning on getting Gaia so that they could colonize another planet using Gaia. And it's like interesting things like that, where I'm like, this game went from where I thought it was just going to jump the shark to, okay, no, they really thought about this in a way that it feels wacky as shit in the first third when you're trying to piece it all together. But by the end of it, you're like, yeah, it makes sense, and it's not too far out of the realm of like.
Yeah, if you're willing to accept that the people left Earth and survived, then the rest of it is not that far out of.
Which, to be fair, I feel the only reason they did that was just so that they could have Tilda be like someone who was close to Sobek, and I think that's the only reason they did it. Which, to be fair, there's so much going in that game, and yes, it's an interesting kind of relationship and dynamic. I get it, But I feel like, at the same time, if they wanted to get rid of the whole Varzeniths living for thousands of years, they could have still done the ancestors from the Varzeniths come back to take the Earth instead, and it still would have worked, in my opinion. Or if anything, you could have very much have had the same kind of contrast of having the ancestor of, like, having the offspring, rather, of Tilda and the offspring of Sobek, right? Have this kind of clash of thing. That still could have worked.
Yeah, or, it would have been interesting to just, even if they did like the whole ancestors of the Far Zenith thing, having someone just be one of them in, Tilda's position, be just kind of naturally curious and piecing together Aloy's focus and being convinced, oh, she's been alive for 20 years, but she's lived more than I have in 1,000,
Yeah.
Maybe I will help her out. I could still believe that. Even without the emotional attachment.
I feel like, again, like it got to the end where at the start I didn't like the idea of humans living for 1,000 years being part of the Horizon kind of world, like the kind of the lore in a way. I was like, I don't know if I like that being a part of the story. But by the end I was that like satisfied with how it all ended up that I just kind of acknowledged it. It was like I still think it's kind of dumb that humans somehow live for 1,000 years, but I'll allow it.
I think it helps that we kind of killed all of them.
True.
If they were still around, it might be a bit more annoying.
True. We'll get to it in the final mission. I do find it very satisfying that they all died very quickly as well. It wasn't like a drawn out thing.
Yeah.
Again, in any other game, that would have been a thing where you had to go, okay, there's a Far Zenith assigned to every section of the map, and you have to do all these side quests in this area so that you can get access to the Far Zenith and kill them. Right, 1 down, add it to the chart, 10 to go. Whereas this game very much at the final mission just goes shields down, fucking kill.
Yeah, good stuff.
Which I like quite a bit. So obviously you have that. So you have this whole plan that they come up with to... Well, originally she wanted to very much just nick Silent's plan and go, okay, use the cover fire to sneak in the back.
And Aloy's like,
oh shit,
I can't do that. I've made friends.
I've made friends. I've got to help them. And also I've got to show Silence his place again. How many times do I have to teach you, old man?
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
So yeah. So obviously you have that mission where we stop Regala, the whole invasion's happening, you get the wings of the 10, you finally get that moment.
Nah, dude. So, flying is cool. Maybe not necessarily it controls, like, kind of
I think it's fine.
It's fine, but, but the spectacle of it is worth it, man.
If you're going to bring that back, Gorilla, here are my 2 little feedbacks for you. 1, make the flying faster, because it did not feel like I was going any faster than running, to be honest, or being on a mount. I felt quite slow in the air.
Yeah, I didn't feel like, to be fair, I didn't even move. I didn't use mounts very much in this game. I just walked.
I did a lot of walking as well, but I did use mounts quite a bit at times, especially in the desert. I did roam around because I was a madman and I was going and filling in all my maps. So I was like, I'm right. If I'm going around all these corners of the map, I'm going on a mount. I'm not doing this on foot. But yeah, so yeah, do that. And 2, do some air combat next time. Make us shoot some things in the air. Like make us do battle in the air. I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Be a cool set piece. Even if it's not like an actual thing, just like make it a set piece. It'd be cool.
That it would actually be really cool because, fighting flying things kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So having the flying thing, being able to like toss yourself onto it and like stab it, that'd be cool.
Now I want combat where you can literally like jump off of your mount, jump onto another one, stab it, and then jump back onto your mount. Like that's what I want, that kind of combat now. Like I want those kinds of battle. Now that you've mentioned that, I'm like, oh dude, I want that. I want free fall. I want to be able to jump off that bird and like free fall and grab onto other things and stab it and then shoot stuff in the air, and
yeah,
that'd be sick.
Dude.
Yeah, hell yeah, do that. Do it, Gorilla. You've got 4 years, do it.
But it's like a last act kind of spectacle thing. It was really cool to just be able to do.
It was a cool final gift, really, where it's like, oh, you're in the second to last mission, you have a whole new little thing that you can do. It's kind of fun.
I wish the side quest didn't tell me that I was gonna get to do it, though.
They shouldn't, yeah. I don't know why they programmed it like that. It almost feels like it was a mistake. They probably should have just left that till after.
Yeah, like so many other times you do.
Only like there's like 1 or 2 missions that actually have the flying.
Yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 with it. And then like, how many other times do you just do things in the story and then side quests pop up as a result of that? Like, why those ones need to happen before?
Like I say, I honestly think it's a glitch in a way. I don't think it is supposed to show up that early.
I know the one was definitely glitched where it told me I could go do it before I had flying after I got it. So
exactly. So gosh, yeah, who knows? But yeah, so that was a cool mission. I also really do like how, again, it ties in, like everything ties up nicely. You get the whole Regala, Hikaru kind of storyline that all closes, and it all closes nicely, and you have, that kind of mini battle, but also you get that victory, and you have that cool moment, that fight, which was, to be fair, not a bad fight.
No, it was. I liked fighting Regala more than I liked fighting Zenith.
As human fights go, that's probably the best human fight in the Horizon franchise, which is not saying much.
That's not saying much, but
that final boss in Horizon Zero Dawn also sucked. Do you remember that one where it's like hide round the corners? Here's the toxic the toxic pots or whatever it was everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
I don't even remember that specifically. I just kind of remember it being like an onslaught of things.
It was. I just realized they got rid of the toxic barrels.
Oh yeah.
Thank fuck. Shout Game of the Year, dude. Hell yeah.
Game of the Year.
I forgot that they were a thing. They were awful in Zero Dawn, so thank you for removing them. Oh, yeah. That's great. But yeah, so that was probably the best fight. And then I like how that kind of wrapped up. And I also like how Hikaru was like, okay, we'll help you. And Aloy's like, no, you're not all dying for this.
I already went over this with everyone else. I'm not letting you do it.
Yeah. Which is again, I really liked how it all wrapped up. Did you choose to kill Regala, or did you spare
Yes, I did.
You see, I spared her just because I wanted to see how she died if I didn't kill her there, because I knew she was going to die. So I was like, well, let's find out.
You see, that was the thing. I'm like, well, you're gonna die anyway.
Which, by the way, is exactly what happens. The only difference is if you kill her, you get to walk through an area and no cutscene happens. If you decide to spare her, there's a scene where you all get ambushed by a bunch of machines, and she basically just takes them all off and sacrifices herself and dies doing that. And that's it. That's literally the only difference. Like,
I don't feel like I missed all that much, to be fair. No.
You do get to talk to her in the base before the final mission, and you get some kind of conversation, but it's nothing major, nothing like super interesting. If anything, apparently it's better if you kill her because you get her weapon, which is more valuable than a cutscene.
Yeah, it was like a legendary. It was one of the longbows though, so you wouldn't have used it.
Oh, I didn't touch the longbows; they suck. Too long, boring. But yeah,
I killed her mostly because I was like, she had her chance when Hikaru spared her.
True.
It's how I felt about it. I'm like, you're gonna cause all these problems. You deserve to die now.
That's a good point. That's fair. Like I said, I was like, you're gonna die anyway, so I might as well see it out, see what happens. I'll be like Hikaru. Hikaru's taught me how to be a noble person, so I'll follow in your footsteps. That was my thought process. But anyway, you do that, you fuck up Silent's plan, and Silence does his little moody emo teenager has to fucking walk back and face the consequences of his actions, and he's like,
well.
I'm not here because I want to be here. I'm here because I have to.
Yeah.
I'm here, but I'm not happy about it, as he fucking grumbles. Which I do find funny, and I do like those conversations that you do have with Silence.
Yeah.
Again, to be fair, it's one of the things that I did probably miss the most from the first game is those conversations with Silence, because you don't get that many of them in this game because of how sparse it is.
She breaks her focus. She breaks her focus on, and then the one mission was all right.
Yeah. So that was that, and then obviously you have your final mission, the break-in of Zenith base, which I'm not gonna lie, because obviously you had the battle for Meridian as the final mission of the first one. Which one do you like more? Battle of Meridian or
so
Zenith?
on a gameplay level, this one was just fighting a lot of specters, dude. I was like, eh. This is just a bunch of specters. At least I got to fight like a Thunderjaw or something in the other one, right?
It was variety. Like, yeah, the variety of things you kill is definitely better in Meridian. But as a final mission goes, I liked the structure of the Far Zenith final mission more than I liked the structure of Meridian. Because Meridian just felt like I was fucking going everywhere, and like I was just running everywhere, and it felt like it was like,
yeah, just kind of like a
there was
big
like machines to the
defense.
right, machine to the left, fight a boss. Now go back out and kill some more machines, and now quickly go to the Hades site. Like, it's like, oh no. So I much preferred the kind of thing like this, and just the spectacle of this one. It felt more like a
the Thunderjaws tossing around the specters when Beta set the Hephaestus thing up on their super printer.
When you set Hephaestus,
I was like, oh, this is great.
That was quite fun. I did like that. And again, it was again, I was expecting Hephaestus to break loose, but it was a clever way of doing it in a way where I'm like, that makes sense that they were like, we'll just get him again, but we need him right now. And it was just a cool way of just being like, look at all these machines being fabricated so damn quickly, and you just got Thunderjaws and Tremotusks. It was like the
end of the first Jurassic Park movie. Just watching the T-Rex mollywop the raptors. It was great.
Yeah, it was. I really did like that. Again, that final the boss against whatever the bald guy was called, the angry man from the Far Zenith.
His name was Eric with a K at the end.
Oh, it's Eric? Oh, Edgelord Eric with a K.
Yeah.
Again, I felt it was satisfying because I was that over leveled that I fucking pub stomped him, and I was like, that was satisfying.
I was level capped, so it was like,
yeah,
screw you, buddy.
I was like 20 hours into the level cap, so I was like well and truly prepared. There was nothing that could stop me at that point. And I like it quite a bit. And then obviously you have the final fight and the massive lore dump right at the end. Which I was like,
bold move to just set up the third game before the
second
before the credits.
Finished, It wasn't even before the credits. It was before the final boss. It was like they were setting it up. I was like, we've not even done the final boss yet. You're already setting up game 3. I'm like, wow, you must be confident. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there will be another one.
Obviously, like they greenlit they've greenlit 2 like a week into 3 being, or the first game being out.
And I'm sure they've already internally greenlit 3.
Yeah.
Because even if Elden Ring has kind of shadowed it in the near side, in the short term, I'm sure over the long term, and I'm sure eventually when it comes to PC, it'll do great like it did, and it'll sell probably low. It'll sell quite a bit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll make it, because Guerrilla's also working on 2 projects at the same time, I believe. So, like in the same way Sony Santa Monica is, I believe. Yeah. So I'm sure that they're already. The team that was finishing up Horizon is probably getting ready for another Horizon while they've got a mid-game coming. A bit like how Cory Barlog's just sitting in the shadows waiting for after God of War to reveal whatever he's working on.
I am curious to know what that is.
It's got to be a new IP, right? That's what it's got to be a new IP.
I hope so. Like, that excites me.
I wonder if it's that cancelled game. You know that game that got cancelled by Santa Monica before God of War?
Oh.
They were working on a game before God of War 2018 that got cancelled. It was like a sci-fi thing that they were working on, and it was a new IP, and I wonder if they brought that back. Probably not. I don't know. Cory Barlog to me doesn't seem like a sci-fi guy. I don't know why, but when I think of games...
The only 2 games that I'm familiar with his work on are God of War 2 and God of War, so I can't
I know he worked on Tomb Raider. He worked on 2013's Tomb Raider.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which to me, I'm like, oh, maybe that's why that's my favorite of the reboot trilogy, is that one.
It's the only one I played.
It's probably for the best. Now, to be fair, Rise is all right, but my problem with Rise is it's just Uncharted. It's just that Tomb Raider 1 is like Tomb Raider reboot is very much like Uncharted, but it has its own kind of identity.
I like
it's really
Tomb Raider,
gruesome, and
I like Tomb Raider's gameplay more than I like Uncharted's, at least.
True. And the original Tomb Raider reboot was very dark, and it was very like gruesome and very much based off kind of cultist kind of vibes, whereas Uncharted was...
It also abused Laura so much.
Oh god, the fucking scene with the impalement
Dude,
in the river.
Right, I remember earlier in the Forbidden West when Aloy had that scene where she like jumped out of the proving lab for the Hades right after encountering the Farzinus people.
Flashbacks. But...
And I was like, oh no, she's being Laura Crofted.
No, yeah, exactly. But yeah. So... Yeah, whereas Rise of the Tomb Raider was very much like Uncharted. It was very much Uncharted, where it was try to find the treasure. It was even in the frozen mountains. It was Uncharted 2 again. It was like, and I didn't like it as much.
In defense of that, that's kind of what the series was originally.
Yeah, true.
But, you know.
True. And I didn't even finish Shadow, so there you go.
Yeah.
But no. So, yeah, that big exposition dump was like, I was like, oh, it's interesting. Like, I was like, oh, no, don't do this because it's going to make the 5 years even more painful. Because it's like, at least with Horizon 1, we just had a short, like, little sneak peek, like, teaser, right? We had, like,
You had but a morsel.
Idea. Yeah, but a morsel. Whereas this, it's like, oh, no, you're telling me to Nemesis? And it's like, the Farzinus were just planning on leaving?
It's just, like, the embodiment of every bad trait that you all had.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, imagine us and how terrible we are, but a robot that, but an AI, a piece of like artificial intelligence gone wrong. I'm like, oh no,
it's like a Persona shadow.
Yeah,
being put into an AI.
Yeah, and being let loose.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh god, that's terrible.
Yeah.
What did you think of the final boss?
It was okay.
Yeah, I thought it was. I was like, meh. I genuinely was like, meh.
It's at least I'm not fighting Tilda as a person.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh no, it's Big Spectre. Oh no,
yeah, just Big Spectre. It didn't do.
It did nothing to me, and I guess it didn't help that I was over leveled, but it just did nothing for me.
I feel like even if I was like the appropriate level, I would be like, still not as cool as the Thundershock.
Yeah. It's not as cool as...
if you would have made like a sleek future-y T-Rex or something, or like a dragon.
If you had made the boss spec to be able to kind of shift into different robots, that would have been cool. Like it shift from a Thunderjaw to a Slaughter, a Slaughter Spine. Cool. We said Slaughter Spine earlier, and it's Thunderjaw that I was thinking of. There we go.
Oh, wasn't?
Yeah. Oh well.
I thought you were thinking of the new one.
No, I was thinking of the old one.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'll live. But yeah, so it's like that would have been cool, but no, it was just kind of fine. I do think I would kind of respect that Tilda just fucking died though. Like they didn't do the whole her ejecting it, cough. Maybe I was wrong about you monologue. She dead.
Yeah, she dead.
Unless they re-alive her in the third one. I'm surprised the post-credit scene wasn't just her body lying there and then like the wiggle of the hand, like generic of still
I don't
alive.
think Silence would have let that happen. He would have made sure she died.
You know when Silence walked past the crew at the end, he probably took a fucking stick or something and started prodding her and shit. Like, make sure you're dead.
Yeah.
It's
funny how her demise was totally self-inflicted too.
Oh yeah, true.
It's like, you're coming with me because I have guilt about leaving Sobek behind. And Aloy's like, no! What's wrong with you?
Yeah. I like how I also love that Silence afterwards is like, I'm taking the ship. You can come with me. I'm not going to force you though, because it's like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to force you because I know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, see, Silence gets it.
Yeah, Silas is like, at least I'm not. Yeah, he's like, I know what you're like, but you can come with me if you want.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we get on like fucking the opposite of a house on fire, but you know, you can come if you want, read books. You stick to your half of the ship, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of vibe, and again, I expected him to stay. It was very much the kind of...
It would have been one of those things where if he did leave, I would have expected him to come back
in the third one anyway. Yeah. So that's what they were probably thinking. They were like, we just might as well keep him here because
Yeah.
We're just going to bring him back anyway because it's Lance Reddick, and we're not going to say no to having him back because his voice is so damn good.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not going to say no to him. So yeah, but overall, I did like the ending. I did like how Aaron was like, it's finally over, and Ayla was just like,
Ayla was like, well, about that.
But no, I just love how it did. It just kind of all came together, and then off they go on their way. Everybody's off on their own travels. Off they go.
Everyone's like, all right.
Let's go team.
Get ready for the impending doom that's arriving.
Hell yeah. And yeah, I do like how it kind of wraps up, and obviously you get Beta back, and they have that kind of, oh look, we're actually siblings. Like, we've got that relationship now. Look at us go. I do find it funny though that in the post game they basically say fuck all to each other. They only decided to record like 2 lines, and that was it. Yeah. Whereas Silence has a whole like branching tree that you can go and check out if you want. But no, it was like, it wrapped up nicely to the point where I was like, damn it, now we gotta wait 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's why I was mad that you were so far behind. So I was like, God damn it, like,
I need to tell somebody.
I'm like, oh man, why do we have to wait so long for this?
Yeah. And yeah.
It was good though. I like I said, I really enjoyed it. And also shout outs to the credits.
Oh, dude, the credits on a visual level, just flying over the world, was really cool.
Someone at Guerrilla looked at the Spyro credits from the original trilogy and went, hold my beer. We're going to do that, but we're going to do it in real time throughout the entire world. And we're just going to fly through it on a path. Yeah. And I was like, hell yeah. I was like, that's sick. Like, honestly, like one of my favorite credits sequences in a long time. I was like, that's really cool. I didn't skip any of that bit. Because I was like, that's just too damn cool.
I don't skip credits the first time through anyway, but...
Well, it depends on the credits. Most of the time, I don't. But if it gets to the point where that one, where it was like, there was like the 10-minute flyover sequence, and then it went to black, and then it had all the
and it goes to black, and then it's like, hey, now here's the voice cast.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to skip over. It's like, I respect and I really do appreciate you, whoever worked on the Spanish dub, but I will skip at this point. Yeah. You all get my blessing though, because otherwise I would literally just be like, I'm playing this out of respect, but I would still go and make a sandwich or something, or go to the bathroom.
Well, a lot of the times I just use the credits as like also my processing time for coming off of games.
Oh, true. But yeah, that's when you can tell it's a good game. The amount of games that I've finished before skipped credits, closed application, uninstalled, and ejected the disc within the space of like 5 minutes. It's just like... Oof.
There are definitely times I've thought about doing that. Like,
I have done that before. Where I'm like, I'm done. Eject, buy, uninstall, throw the disc in the bin.
There's definitely the ones where once the credits are done, and it's like, congratulations, you finished. I'm like, yeah, out with you. Uninstall.
Be gone. Get out of here. Definitely.
Yeah.
But no, like I say, overall, it was great. I had a blast.
It was a good one. Solid improvement over the first one.
I was surprised how much I liked it. I genuinely am surprised how much I genuinely enjoyed it. Because I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. And I'm pleasantly surprised by that. Yeah. Because, like I say, I liked the first one. I didn't love the first one. Whereas this one I did. I absolutely adored it from start to finish. And I think it definitely helped that I didn't like I say, Elden Ring did not entice me enough to stop playing it for it, and also there wasn't a Breath of the Wild around the corner to distract me. So.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was a win-win for everybody involved. Yeah. But no, it was great. Can't wait for the fight between that and God of War and what gets second place at the Game Awards, because we all know that...
Poor Horizon, not gonna get the awards again.
Yeah. Don't worry, God of War won't this time either, or Starfield. Everybody's taking the L's this year.
Oh, it'd be really funny if it was a situation like how Red Dead was, where God of War wins the Game of the Year, but Elden Ring won like everything else.
I'd love that. If Elden Ring won everything else, and then like God of War or anything else won the actual award. That'd be funny.
It's a shame that those things don't typically account for best performance. They don't account for multiple characters, because Ashley Birch portraying both of them, both Aloy and Beta, I believe is like super commendable, but also you can't tell anybody.
Yeah, true. It's like, yeah, it's one of those things. It'd be funny if they got 2 nominations for 2 separate characters. Like, you know how Deathloop had 2 noms last year?
Oh, yeah.
Just have that again, but have it Ashley Birch for Aloy and Ashley Birch for Beta.
That would be funny.
It would. But alas.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen. Anyway. And if you got any final thoughts, any wrap-up thoughts?
Oh, it's a great game. Go check it out if you like, if you got a PlayStation. And you like these kind of games. Yeah, 4 or 5. I can't speak to how it runs on the older console, but
it runs fine. It runs at 30.
Oh, nice.
It's a really good port. If you liked Zero Dawn and you don't mind how Zero Dawn ran and played on the base PS4, then you're going to be fine. I'm surprised at how good it looks on PS4, to be honest. They genuinely pulled a miracle. One of the best looking PS4 games.
Oh yeah. Dude, it was funny, like a couple weeks, or like the week I finished even, and I watched a clip show from like the first game, and I was like, man, I didn't realize just how much of a glow up this was visually.
Oh, same. I was the exact same way, where I was like, damn, this was a glow up. Like, that's crazy.
like even back when we saw the trailer, I'm like, Aloy's model looks about the same. No, it doesn't.
No, it looks miles different.
Yeah. I can't believe people were complaining about that pre-release.
I know.
Like, she obviously looks better. Quit being stupid.
Yeah, that is. It was something, alright. It was something.
Yeah.
But anyway. Well, anyway, that's our spoiler cast. 2 hours, we did it. Well done.
Hype.
Yeah, I'm going to be tired at work tomorrow, but it's all good. It was worth it. We hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know what you guys thought about the game. You can contact us on the socials, you can contact us in the comments, or you can shoot us an email at hotgamersonly@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought. And what you'd like us to do a spoiler cast on next. We'd love to hear it. We're not doing one on Elden Ring. You can fuck off, because I don't know what
neither of us have beaten it,
and I don't know what I'm playing it, and I don't know what the story is. All I know is
Sam was the one who's played it the most, and he also hasn't beat it because he restarted.
He's got like 120 hours in it.
I'd sooner still do a year after the fact a spoiler cast for Bloodborne.
Hell yeah! While we're thinking of not to give future spoiler casts away, but we are thinking of when new entries in the franchises crop up, we may be doing the week before a spoiler cast for previous entries. Wink wink, nudge nudge. I wonder what that is. You won't guess unless you really know.
Unless you've paid attention to my tastes.
Unless you paid attention to Hunter in particular. You'll never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun. It's all good. I can't,
we could do that with God of War when that finally gets a date, if it doesn't get pushed.
Yeah. We can do it with so many things. It'll be great. It'll be fun. But no, it always surprises me how much we can talk about these kinds of games, because I'm like, damn, we've really spoken for 2 hours about Horizon. That's crazy.
That is wild.
Well, I mean, we spoke for 2.5 about True Colors, so.
Oh, we did.
Not beating that one. But we've beaten every other one.
How long did the Royal Strikers go for?
An hour and 47 minutes we beat.
Oh,
yeah,
man. That was a lot. That was pretty chunky too.
Yeah. But hey, audio, as we always say, these are our gift to you guys, because spoilercasts don't do particularly incredibly on YouTube, but audio listeners, you guys love these spoilercasts, and we appreciate you, and these are our gift to you. In fact, you get spoilercasts early on podcasts. It's just a fun fact. Don't tell anyone. That's like a hidden secret. If you made it to the end, shh. You actually get it early. You get it a couple of days early, because I just put it out when we've done it. Whereas YouTube has to wait for the relevant day. But hey, it's all good. But no, that's it, guys. We're done. It's been fun. That's been our show. Thank you ever so much for listening / watching. And yeah, I guess we'll see you next time for our next spoiler cast, or for whatever you see next from us, whether it's the main podcast or whatever. So yeah, have an awesome day, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Toodaloo.